A reading from the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which someone found and hid. Then in his joy goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls. On finding one pearl of great value, he went and sold all that he had and bought it." Jesus is continuing to teach in parables about the kingdom of heaven. And if you've been following along in our sermons of the day, you'll see that it's not just one thing or not just one image that Jesus gives his listeners, but rather gives them an entire cascade of images, I think in the hopes that something will catch in our hearts and our imaginations. And we have two that are similar again here as they've been broken up. They are both on the surface about the kingdom of heaven being like something of great value that one of us might go and cash in everything we have in order to have that kingdom. But the two parables are different, and I want to just read them again because especially the first one is really interesting once you listen to it closely. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. So it's like the treasure that's been hidden in a field, which someone found and hid. Then in his joy goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field that someone found and hid, and then in his joy goes and sells all that he has and buys that field. That's actually much more complex and more complicated than the way I think our ears first hear them, which is, oh, it's like a great thing and a great field, and someone just cashes everything and buys this valuable property. It's not exactly that. So I will just commend that to your care as you may wish to find this again. This is in Matthew 13, that's verse 44. If you really want to turn that image over in your own head. And again, reminded that parables are not meant to be simple morality tales. They're usually some sort of a thought puzzle that will say something that surprises the hearer and then invites us into that deep mystery, kind of cracks our imagination open a bit. So I'll leave that one to you. I will say that today it strikes me that what Jesus might be trying to convey is that somebody finds this great, the kingdom of heaven is like that treasure that's been found and then hidden away. And then someone goes and dissolves everything they have to purchase that field. It feels like that's that human impulse to, in the case of the Transfiguration, build a booth to something very special. We want to make permanent, and we want to reify that experience of the treasure of the kingdom. And this idea of it being discovered and hidden away and then purchased with joy is an interesting set of images that Jesus gives us to wrestle with, and I will leave that to you. I certainly see connections to things like trying to make permanent our experience, our place of experiencing God and God's grace and glory and beauty. Kind of in the middle of that at St. James right now. But then this second one, like a merchant. So the first one's like a treasure in a field. The second one's like a merchant who is in search of fine pearls. And on finding that one pearl of great value, goes and sells all that he has and buys it. So one's like the treasure, one's like the merchant who's seeking treasure, finds it, and liquidates again everything that he has in order to purchase that thing of great price and great value. And so the invitation, I think, on that one for me today is simply to invite myself and to invite you along with me to just sit with that. What is it? What would I liquidate everything in my life for? Sell everything I have, all of my possessions, all of my assets, and then trade that in for something. What is it that I would do that for? I'm not even going to have any leading answers. I leave that to you. But what is it that would possess us to give up all that we have in order to have this one thing? I think And no fair going for the genie with the three wishes. My third wish is to have three more wishes. I don't think it's that. I think it's meant to help us really drill down and see what it is that we're valuing in our lives and what it is that we would value the most. Jesus invites us in these parables of the kingdom to consider what the kingdom of heaven is in our life. And I'd like to believe that I would cash in everything I have for this tangible expression of the kingdom. Of course, it sort of points us to the fact that we have the kingdom of heaven available to us now. And what is it that we're doing? Are we hoarding? Are we burying it in a field? And, there's all sorts of ways that these two parables can open up our own contemplation, meditation, spiritual meditation on what it is that we value and how it is that we see the value in the kingdom of heaven in our lives. I hope that Jesus' parables will help you to enter deeply into God's presence through prayer and to ask God to show you where these parables are meant to touch you and challenge you and inspire you in your own life. And I will go home myself and think on these things, or go out into the world. I am home. I'm going forth in my day and thinking on what it is that Jesus is attempting to show us in these particular parables of God's kingdom. May God be with you in your own prayerful consideration. May God bless you and keep you this day and always. Amen.